Good evening, sir. My name is Desimi Mbaid, and this is my reading activity and Article 16 and 17. So, Article 16, who are criminally liable? So, the following are criminally liable for grave and less grave felonies. So, first is the principal, second is the accomplice, third is the accessories. So, the following are criminally liable for light felonies are principals and accomplice. So when we say accessories, so accessories is not liable for light felonies because the individual prejudice is so small that penal sanction is not necessary. So only natural person can be criminal as only they can act with malice or negligence and can be subsequently deprived of liberty. Juridical persons are liable under special laws, so manager of a partnership is liable even if there is no evidence of his direct participation in the crime. So corporations may be injured party. General rule, corpse and animals have no rights that may be injured. Exception, the defamation of the dead is punishable when it blackens the memory of one who is dead. So that is the Article 16. And the Article 17 state that principles, the following are considered principles. First is those who take a direct part in the execution of the act. And second is those who directly force or induce others to commit it. And number three, those who cooperate in the commission of the offense by another act without which it would not have been accomplished, principles by direct participation. And the requisite for two or more to be principals by direct participation is first is the participated in the criminal resolution or conspiracy. The second is carried out their plan and personally took part in its execution by acts which directly tended to the same end. Conspiracy is unity of purpose and intention. So, establishment of conspiracy. First is the proven by overt act. Second is not mere knowledge or approval. Third, it is not necessary that there be formal agreement. And fourth is must prove beyond reasonable doubt. Five is the conspiracy is implied when the accused had a common purpose and were united in execution. And number six, unity of purpose and intention in the commission of the crime may be shown in the following cases. So, first is the spontaneous agreement at the moment of the commission of the crime. Second is the active cooperation by all the offenders in the perpetration of the crime, contributing by positive acts to the realization of a common criminal intent. Four is the presence during the commission of the crime by a band and lending moral support thereto. And number five, while conspiracy may be implied from the circumstances attending the commission of the crime, it is nevertheless a rule that conspiracy must be established by positive and conclusive evidence. So, conspirator not liable for the crimes of the other, which is not the object of the conspiracy or it's not a logical or necessary consequence thereof. Multiple rape, each rapist is liable for another's crime because each cooperated in the commission of the rapes perpetrated by the others. Exception, in the crime of murder with treachery, all the offenders must at least know that there will be treachery in executing the crime or cooperation therein. So, example, Juan and Pedro conspired to kill Tomas with previous plan of treachery. In the crime scene, Juan used treachery in the presence of Pedro and Pablo knew such both are liable for murder. But if Pedro stayed by the gate while Juan alone killed Thomas with treachery so that Pedro didn't know how it was carried out. So Juan is liable for murder while Pedro for homicide. So, no such thing as conspiracy to commit an offense through negligence. However, special laws may make one a co-principal. Example is the Under Pure Food and Drug Act. A store owner is liable for the act of his employees of selling adulterated coffee, although he didn't know that coffee was being sold. So conspiracy is negated by the acquittal of co-defendant that the culprits carried out the plan and personally took part in the execution by acts which directly tended to the same end. So, number one, the principals by direct participation must be at the scene of the crime, personally taking part although he was not present in the scene of the crime. He is usually liable as a principal by direct participation. One serving as guard pursuant to the conspiracy is a principal direct participation. And if the second element is missing, those who did not participate in the commission of the acts of execution cannot be held criminally liable unless the crime agreed to be committed is treason, sedition, or rebellion. So, principals by induction. So, those who directly force or induce others to commit it. Principal by induction liable only when principal by direct participation committed the act induced. So the requisite of these principals by induction first is the inducement be made directly with the intention of procuring the commission of the crime. Second, such inducement by the determining cause of the commission of the crime by the material executor. So, forms of endorsements. First is by price, reward, or promise. Second, by irresistible force or uncontrollable fear. Third, commander has the intention of procuring the commission of the crime. Fourth, commander has ascendancy or influence. Fifth is words used be so direct, so efficacious, and so powerful. Command be uttered prior to the commission. 7. Executor had no personal reason. Um, 8 is the imprudent, evident advice does not constitute sufficient inducement. 8. A requisite for words of command to be considered inducement. 9. Words uttered in the heat of anger and in the nature of the command that had to be obeyed do not make one an inductor. So when we say inductor or induce others, it is liable only when the crime is executed and covers any crime. So propose is to commit a felony. So in induce, it is also the same and punishable at once when proposes to commit rebellion or treason. The person to whom one proposed should not commit the crime, otherwise the latter becomes an inductor. So covers only treason and rebellion. Effects of acquittal of principal by direct participation in liability of principal by inducement. First is the conspiracy is negated by the acquittal of the co-defendant. Second is one cannot be held guilty of instigating the commission of the crime without first showing that the crime has been actually committed by another. But if the one charged as principal by direct participation be acquitted because he acted without criminal intent or malice, it is not a ground for the acquittal of the principal by inducement. So, principals by indispensable cooperation. Those who cooperate in the commission of the offense by another act without which it would not have been accomplished. So, the requisite first is the participation in the criminal resolution. Second is the cooperation through another act includes negligence. There is collective criminal responsibility when the offender are criminally liable in the same manner and the same extent. The penalty is the same for all. There is individual criminal responsibility when there is no conspiracy. So, in Article 16, so they tackle about the principals and accomplices and accessories. And also The exception of this is the defamation of the dead is punishable when it blackens the memory of one who is dead. And in Article 17, it is tackled about the principles that the following who considered principle is those who take a direct part in the execution of the act. And also they have the establishment of conspiracy that you have to prove in by overt act or not mere knowledge or approval. And they also are a conspirator, not liable for the crimes of the other, which is not the object of the conspiracy, or it is not liable for the crimes of the other. So, and they have also the multiple rape. They tackle about multiple rape, that each rapist is liable for another crimes because each cooperated in the commission of the rape perpetrated by the others. And also, the important of this article is they have a forms of inducement and principles by induction. So when we say principal induction, it is liable only when principal by direct participation committed the act induced. And the forms of inducement have 10 forms of inducement. So I already said it gaina nga napulo ka buok nga forms of inducement. So also the inductor, when we say inductor, it is liable only when the crime is executed and proposes to commit a felony, so it is punishable only at once when proposes to commit rebellion or the treason. And principles by indispensable cooperation, those who cooperate in the commission of the offense by another act without which it would not have been accomplished. So that's all. Thank you for listening to me.